Co-op Mode, round 67. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm your host, Todd. On my journey, as always, my faithful co-op companion, Mark the Canardian Caravan. How are you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. And we are also joined by someone who has been on Secret Friends Unite, who normally does video games, but we didn't really talk video games at all, and that is Carly Kjeslstrom, a.k.a. Scarlet Stream. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be on this one, even though we totally cheated the last time and talked about Mass Effect, so...
Yes,
you
Charlie
guys
actually got on me.
Mass Effect conversation in with Charlie?
Yeah. No, Charlie was not on, so I kind of cheated and talked video games. But we kept it clean, I would say. We were very good. Yeah. So,
especially because I didn't know anything about Mass Effect at the time.
No, and you're going to talk more about that. But Carly, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So most of you know me as Scarlet. I've been part of the Stadia community. That's where I kind of started making more of a name for myself since it first came out. November 2019? Wow, that's a long time ago. Shoot. I am the brand manager at Gaming Source Network, which is where some of you may know me from, where Stadia Source became GSN. I do a lot of different things as well. I am working on getting my own show going, part of GSN, that's called Nintendo Show, because who doesn't like Nintendo
That's awesome.
stuff? So I got the Nintendo Show shirt right there.
Nice pun. I love it.
Yeah. I do wooden gamer accessories, so like headphone stands, controller stands, board games, all that good stuff. I'm working right now on a new product, the DM screen. So I'm really excited to start getting into pen and paper type stuff, so tabletop things like that.
Ooh,
cool.
Nice.
And I do nerdy apparel, obviously from the Nintendo Show shirt. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Nintendo and puns.
All the
Two thumbs way up.
Back there.
Absolutely. Well, they don't call me Polka Todd for nothing. Oh, well.
They call me for nothing.
Since Carly's been on Secret Friends Unite, she's already given her origin, but I figured we want everybody to get to know Carly a little bit better and get to know Mark a little better even along the way. So we're going to play a game of rent, buy, return. I don't know. I keep changing the order every time I come up with this game. But we'll start there. So we're going to assign 3 games, and each of our hosts have to assign them to that specific category. And let's just put it this way. Renting does not mean you actually get to play the game and then return it. It's essentially, you started it, you're done with it. You're not even completing most of it. It's just not for you, is the best way to put it. Rental is you play it once, you put it away. Buy it is, this game is with me forever, and I will return to it. So with that, we'll start off with a series of games that might be interesting to all of you. We're going to start with, this is a hard one, because I'm trying to find one that would really appeal to the hardcore crowd. So we're going to say Pokemon Omega Ruby? Is that one? I'm trying to remember what my son's first Pokemon game that he
Why
loved.
Specifically Ruby?
I don't know.
Why specifically the second version of Ruby?
I love the preparation that went into this, Todd.
Well, I was trying to think of the first game my Pokemon game my son fell in love with on the 3DS. I think it was Pokemon Omega, maybe Sapphire. Was that one of them?
I'm pretty sure it was Alpha
Sapphire.
Alpha Sapphire. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Let's pick that one. Then we're going to pick Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
That one I know. And then the third will be Super Mario Galaxy.
Interesting.
Good choices.
Okay.
That's tough. That's some tough stuff.
All right. So Carly, why don't you kick us off? Your choices. I really am excited because that Pokemon game obviously means a lot to me.
Obviously. So for sure, this is going to be a no-brainer. I am buying and keeping forever Breath of the Wild. Like that's not going anywhere. I have watched my husband play Skyward Sword, and I have read all of those right there, all of those Zelda books. If you guys can see them,
Nice.
all of them. Read all of them, but I never actually played myself until Breath of the Wild, and it was perfect because it was everything that I loved about the Zelda genre, and well, it essentially is its own genre of the Zelda franchise mixed with everything I loved about open exploration, because I love Skyrim as well, and so it was like a perfect blend of Zelda with Skyrim, and it was more than I ever wanted. So that one is 100% buy, keep, love forever, nonstop. Rent would probably be Galaxy, because I've played most of it. We got like that 3-pack or whatever it was of like Sunshine, 64
Galaxy.
Sunshine, and Galaxy. Yeah. So I was playing through Galaxy, which reminds me, that's another game that I need to get back to and finish. Oh my gosh, I've had like no life for the last year. And then Return would have to be Sapphire, simply because Crystal is my true love. And I have played I played the original Ruby because I traded all of my Pokemon cards for like all of the Game Boy Advance games.
Oh wow.
so I got a lot of the Game Boy Advance Pokemon games. So I played through the original Ruby, which was fantastic because that's where they started doing the showcasing stuff where you could get like ribbons for your Pokemon, and I loved it so much because it was something totally different. It's like if I wanted to be a showman, I could be a showman. I didn't have to just be a trainer who was, there to take down the Elite Four or whoever they were at that time. Which then spurred on a whole conversation. My husband and I worked on a blog website of what the next Pokemon game should be before Sword and Shield were announced. It's pretty great if I say so myself. But yeah, those are my 3 orders.
Awesome choices. I like your reasoning behind everything. For me, I'm thinking I'm gonna pick probably Breath of the Wild as my keep. That I put like 200 hours into that game. I've gone back to it like just it like that's my first playthrough. I've put more into it in Returns. Like, yeah, that's such an amazing game.
Satori is like my second home. Right?
Yeah. And there's just like there's so much. Who was I talking to? And I was like, did you find the was it like the bowling alley or the mini golf course thing?
Yeah, the bowling pins and all that.
Yeah,
and the golf course,
mini golf,
both of them.
the thing. Yeah. And they were just like, what? And I was like, the game's been out for like 4 years, and they're like, I never stumbled like 100.
Never seen that once.
Yeah, see, right? Like no one even knows, and it's
it.
Yeah, like that game's just special. So that's my buy. The other 2 are tough. I like your reasoning that like there's so many Pokemon games, but like Mario Galaxy's so special too. I have been replaying. I replayed that a tiny bit, and then I've been really replaying Super Mario Sunshine using like the wireless PowerA GameCube controller for Switch. And that's really changed my playthrough of Sunshine because I was not super impressed with that in like the All-Star Collection, but it was because I was mostly playing it handheld, and I just find the Switch button layout, maybe it's just like muscle memory of the GameCube days or something, but it just doesn't speak to me the same way. So like switching over to a GameCube controller, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling Sunshine. But yeah, anyway, back to Galaxy. Man, I did like Galaxy 2, I think, a little bit better. So that's a tough one. I think, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna rent Galaxy, and sadly, I'm gonna return Pokemon, even though that is literally also the Pokemon game that I'm replaying right now. Like that is, on my 3DS, that is the game that I'm playing. But there's so many other.
So think about it, because like Pokemon hasn't really changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of excitement behind what they did with Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, where you had Pokemon in the overworlds, like for real, for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Which they brought a little bit of that into the what is it, the Wild Zone, the Wild area?
Yeah, into Sword and Shield.
In Sword and Shield, which was fantastic as well, but they still didn't do shinies in the overworld, which drives me nuts. But now we've got Arceus coming out, which looks like it's going to be totally different, because this is going to be a huge precursor game where we're not going to have like a lot of the amenities and the nice things like Pokemon storage or like advanced Pokeballs or any of that stuff. And it looks like it's going to be even more of like overworld battling and more overworld catching, which is going to be even better. So like, I feel like we're finally getting to the point where Pokemon might do what Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey did.
Yeah.
Which they reinvented those two franchises, but kept them, still well beloved. Yeah. Like, I don't think anybody said anything bad about Odyssey or Breath of the Wild.
No.
So,
except for me.
Except for you, okay, fine.
I was just going to say, Todd can say anything bad about any Nintendo. But I think, to your point, like, Pokemon's such, pardon the slight pun, but such an evolutionary franchise that with each iteration, they change just enough to make it interesting and just enough that it doesn't fully reinvent the wheel, but they add those quality of life things. And I think there's enough in the franchise to keep me going. If I never could play Alpha Sapphire again, I'd be like, cool, whatever. I'll move on to this, or this. So
that's kind of its downside, though.
Oh,
it kind of needs that reinvention of the wheel. Like, I'm a little tired of only being a trainer, that I have to go battle the gyms, that I can't focus on. Maybe I want to be a Pokemon breeder. Maybe I want to be a Pokemon showman.
Well, I've got a game for you if you like photography. Otherwise,
I have Pokemon
otherwise
Snap.
You're screwed.
I was actually playing it a few times for a Nintendo. But so like, but that's still considered a side game. It's not a core game. Odyssey and Breath of the Wild are core games.
Yeah.
Like Calamity, so Hyrule Warriors or whatever it is. Hyrule Warriors isn't a core Zelda game, so it's kind of like whatever. It's fun, but it's still to the side. None of the Pokemon core games have had that reinvention of the wheel, so to say. Yes, they've had little advancements, but they need kind of a bunch of little ones at the same time, not between each game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they need a little bit of balance, like how you can have Breath of the Wild, but you can have Link's Awakening, right? It's serving essentially the audience that wants something that's a throwback, but still has that charm and the characters, but allows the series to really change and evolve, as well as, because the people that have been playing Pokemon since youth are now 30 years old. I mean, so, and quite honestly, people get more advanced tastes. They don't like, the same, watching like Dora the Explorer anymore, surprisingly, because they've advanced. So yes, exactly. Yes. Now they can watch the new Dora Explorer on Paramount Plus or whatever it's on. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Todd, do we even want to know what you'd pick for this, or you just return them all and light the store on fire?
You're gonna love my picks. So I am buying the Pokemon game because that's not important to me. It's important to my son.
That's not fair.
That's a cheat answer.
Well, I'll throw that in the trash then. I won't do the sentimental, listen to Todd, he's got a heart. No. I will go then the route of I will keep Mario Galaxy, just because I love what it did and the mechanics it brought in and how it made every planetoid unique and special. I will rent Breath of the Wild because I will play it once, never go back, because I'm glad I experienced it, but I really don't love the game. I just found it to be very much like a game where it took a lot of things from finally got some influences from like broad open games like Assassin's Creed, different things like that.
Mhm.
But once again, I think it suffered in storytelling. I didn't find the Divine Beast very interesting. I didn't find the rewards for discovery interesting whatsoever. The Koroks, things like that. And when people talk about like the story, unless you were a vested Zelda fan, I don't think the story itself was that intriguing because the characters had little to no character development. They were just kind of there, with giving you very broad brush characters, and also the lack of consistent voice acting. Just it felt like made the world less alive because I don't. It just to me feels like it's something that they just need to get beyond and get beyond that part. But I think it's a rental because I think it's worth experiencing. But I'm not one of the person that thinks it's one of the best games ever. I just think it's a good game that really brought in a lot of new fans to open world RPGs. So I like that. When the Pokemon, obviously it's a return because I've tried a couple Pokemon games and I'm like, nope, not for me. So that's it. But I do love the Pokemon rap.
Okay, perfect. So tune in to episode 68 in 2 weeks when I kick Todd off and Carly and I can talk about how great Breath of the Wild is.
Absolutely.
I will talk at least 30
Absolutely.
minutes about
There you go. I can't wait to
Terrytown.
hear it.
Speaking of real quick, I have to ask because
Yes.
Breath of the Wild continues to surprise people all the time with new things. Like, what? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Mhm.
Mark,
Mm-hmm.
have you found Terrytown?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
I finished
I just
all of
wanted to make
Terrytown.
sure.
I got super hooked
Okay.
on that. I was like, I need to
Apparently,
find the
people
Terry.
still don't know about that because they don't finish out Link's house
Right.
because they're like, why I never used.
Wait,
the house. Why would
Link
I
has a
do that?
house?
Yeah, and
Todd,
it's actually his previous forms. It was. His
I'm sorry,
house
that
before
game
the
gives you
war.
nothing. I'd have to search the globe for any of this stuff because when people say, like, there's a thing, I'm like, well, how do I find it? I don't know. Nobody in the game has told me anything. The game has so little hints.
It's in.
I struggle with the game because that game has Nintendo logic overall. I don't like Nintendo logic.
it's an
Come on.
exploration.
It's in Hateno Village.
I know it's an exploration game, but give me a map then to explore.
There's
Don't
an
send
app.
me out and say,
Uncover
die.
the map. That's the whole.
It's not
I'm
Oregon
out.
Trail. It's not Oregon Trail. It's not Oregon Trail. And when I did explore, I'm like, oh, look, another mountain I climb to and I find a Korok seed. That's not interesting. the
What,
rewards just weren't there.
You don't want little leaf poops?
I was just gonna
No.
say, like a golden poop is not enough of a
I'm like-
reward for you.
I don't want another shrine. I'm like, I'm bored as hell again with another
Tacos.
shrine. So yeah, to me, it wasn't for me.
Right.
Yep, it wasn't for me. I don't have the patience for that. Sorry. I'm good with a
will take
60-hour game,
any
not a
game.
185-hour
Alright.
game.
Any game
Moving
that
on.
gives me a
Mark,
giant
we're
Groot
gonna
with some
start-
golden poop
Yep.
and
We're
Maragas.
gonna start a new show.
Yes.
I like
Oh
it.
my
Yeah.
god.
I'm out.
Yes, people hate me now. Oh well, that's perfectly fine. But while you want to, and know how can you tell me? You know how you can tell people how you hate me, and that's by rating and subscribing on iTunes. Tell Mark how much you love him, and give us a 5-star, and tell how much you hate me, and that's perfect. And then on YouTube, subscribe so you can just add to the YouTube hate. So I love that. So do those things,
Click that
folks,
thumbs
and
up,
we
click
please.
that subscribe button, hit that bell to be
Slap.
notified anytime they go live. There you go.
Absolutely. And now with YouTube, you can see the disgust on my face when I talk about Breath of the Wild.
You can watch
Nobody
me
hates
face palm.
you, Todd.
Yeah.
We're just
No,
confused
exactly.
and concerned.
But we're going to shift now, and I'm actually going to show some heart because, Carly, I think you'll get a kick out of this. So a good friend of mine, Sean Nihas, has basically said, I want to give back to the community. He's got 2 gaming kids, a girl and a boy. And he said, I will donate $100 each for each Xbox Design Lab controller that you design that my son or my daughter chooses. So if you're a creator of that design of that controller, the creator gets $100 to the charity of their choice. So
Cool.
just a little bit about the 2 kids. The boy, he loves Captain America. The girl is she loves gaming, and she's actually requested us to have more content with a female focus on it. She loves Minecraft, and she loves the colors light blue and purple. So that's the hint she
like
gets.
her already.
Perfect.
Shoot.
Yeah.
So Carly,
Yeah.
this is your request to put on your design hat because you are a designer by all means. So we want your design.
Okay, I will try. I've actually tried out the Xbox controller thing, and I make dumb stuff.
We love it. We love it. So this goes out to the whole
Very
community.
fitting. Zelda design
And
kit.
please, everyone, if you want to be involved in this design contest, you can put this out on Twitter at Secret Friends U or at Teoxtra or at _Canardian. Let us know your designs. We will put those into the contest. We'll basically put all the designs on the website, and then the kids will vote in a month, I believe is where we're going to do it, and then we'll announce the winners.
Mm-hmm. And you can also drop them in the Discord chat. Everything so far has been going on in the video game chat channel on our Discord, and it all kind of kicked off. I still haven't decided, by the way, but I dropped somewhere around 20 designs that I've made up because I'm super indecisive, and I was like, which one do you guys like? And luckily it was like a 4-way tie for first, so that's helpful.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Really, I'm circling a couple. Anyway, but and then people started like sharing designs, and Sean shared one that he likes, and then his kids were kind of going through, and other people were jumping in, and it's been a fun chat. So definitely join the Discord server as well. That's where a lot of this stuff's going down.
Absolutely. Nice. Well, excellent. So now it's time for us to talk about what we've been playing. So Carly, you're playing something we talked about on Secret Friends Unite. So tell us all about your experience with Mass Effect 2.
Sure. Well, so I finished Mass Effect 1, obviously. And I loved it. It was fantastic. I did everything. And I mean everything. Every side quest, every planet that you could visit and collect ores and whatever from, essentially, like, I beat up every gang. I did all of that. Unfortunately, I did all of that before I ever went back to the Citadel. I did everything, and I never went back to the Citadel once.
No!
Which was a bad decision. Because I got there, and I got, like, this one quest where there's this guy. So, like, I managed to do a few more things that were there at the Citadel before I went and did, like, the main stuff. And there was this guy, though, who was like, hey, I'm kind of like a hobo or something. Can I have, like, 10 credits? So I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, thanks. I'm also, like, a friend of your mom. I was like, okay, but I've never heard of you. He's like, well, call your mom and tell her about me. So I was like, okay, I get to call my mom. I'm gonna go on my ship. I'm gonna call my mom. But the second I got back on my ship, I was on the run. So I failed that side mission. So it was the one side mission that I didn't get to do. And my husband's like, it's okay, I didn't do it either. And I'm like, honey, you don't understand. I am a completionist. And knowing the things that I know about Mass Effect, that things you do in game 1 can carry all the way into game 3, I'm like, I could have helped this hobo. I could have, like, been best friends with him, and he would have had, like, the greatest life ever, but now I will never know.
We've all been there, Carly. We all wish we could help that hobo.
Yeah. So I ended at, like, level 55, and, like, I maxed out my my charm, because I was like, okay, I can't, like, upgrade any of this in game 2, so I have to be, like, boss. So I go into game 2, and they're like, yeah, you're boss, but now you're broke. And I had, like, 999,999,000 credits.
My goodness.
And, like, the best armor and the best weapons. I could kill things in, like, one shot, and I was like, boss. And then you start over, and you're working for the bad guys, and I'm kind of angry. I've been angry at this game for almost a month now. I haven't gone back to it, because I'm mad that I'm working for the bad guys. Which I get, they're not the bad guys, but they're totally bad, because they, like, do terrible stuff in the first game. So I was like, okay, well, plus I need to, like, there's a nap. Plus I need to, like, finish a bunch of work, so I've been, like, cracking down on that, so I just haven't had time for any video games.
So you know what you do when you find out you're secretly working for the bad guys?
Mm-hmm.
You beat the shit out of your 90-year-old best friend and sink all the helicarriers. Wait, wrong franchise. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Deep cut there, Mark.
Thank you.
I don't know what any of that meant.
That's a Captain America's Winter Soldier reference.
That's right.
Oh.
Non-MCU fans, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you can just do what I did. You just wait 3 years because you had to wait between the sequels, right? Now just put it on pause for 3 years. Do it in real time. Yeah.
So anywho, so I've been working on that, and they've also like dramatically changed a lot of stuff. So I'm like, crap, now I have to get used to a new system, but I really like the old system. So anyway, Mass Effect 2. I am really enjoying it though. I've collected everybody but Jack, who I'm kind of refusing to collect her because I don't want her on my team at all. And
oh no.
I've been spoiled as to who the Shadow Broker is, which makes me even more upset. So I'm just kind of mad at this game right now. So instead, in my 10 minutes of off time a day, I've been replaying Skyrim for the 30th time. Go figure. But this time as a wood elf, which is not usual for me. I'm usually a Khajiit or an Argonian, but this time I am a wood elf. And for some reason, I am kicking butt.
Really?
Like, yeah, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's an elf, and I have a thing for elves. But yeah, I'm replaying Skyrim.
Or it could be that you played it 30 times.
Or that. So I'm just really good at headshots.
That could be it.
What made you pick the wood elf this time? Was it just like random, like, choice? Or
well, I don't like high elves because they're jerks.
Right.
And the dark elves, everybody's kind of like racist towards them, which I didn't want to be like an underdog, because I was already an underdog enough when it came to being a Khajiit, because everybody's like, you're a thief. It's like, but I'm not. But I really am, because I just stole this from you. So
yeah.
So this is going to be kind of more nerdy. I have an elf Sona, essentially. So like if I were to ever cosplay, it would always be this character kind of thing.
If you say cosplay like, 3 times, Charlie shows up, by the way. So that's
like
twice.
The Candyman.
Yeah.
Not in your house. He just appears as an image on your screen with a selfie.
For those listening, I just looked very concerned over my shoulder. But yeah, so I figured, well, I might as well actually play as an elf this time. Plus, I always archer, like 100% always. But what's funny is that as an elf, I should be an archer, but this time I'm using a mace and a shield.
All right.
So I can't explain it. I just figured I would do something different. And I have also seen that there have been people who've been replaying Skyrim by using character sheets that they've written beforehand. So they've written like new backgrounds, kind of like morals and principles that the character has. So like things that they would do or things they would never do. So I'm also trying to like go by that. Like if I were actually in this game, what would I do? So if I joined the Thieves Guild, I would obviously never join the Dark Brotherhood, because the thieves kind of have a thing where it's like, don't kill unless you have to. Whereas the Dark Brotherhood's like, kill everybody. So we'll go with that.
That's very similar to what people are doing with like GTA 5.
Yeah.
They're basically like role playing within GTA 5, where they have a role and they don't vary from it. It's like, I am the guy that does this, and that's what I'm doing in the game. I am the guy that details your car.
Yeah, and that immersion gets kind of lost in games like Skyrim or GTA or things like that, because you're able to do everything without really having consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and in Fallout too, like you could join almost every faction and nobody would give a rip. So forcing yourself to actually be immersed at that level where it does affect the things that you do actually makes it more fun, because you've restricted yourself now in ways that the game doesn't restrict you. That's one of my hopes for Starfield, is that it actually matters what you do, what faction you join. If you join the Raiders, people aren't going to like you.
Sure. Yeah, you're like, your choices would have, it's kind of like they'll remember you did that, or it's kind of like a permanence of, or a, like you said, you're a thief, but you're not really a thief, but you are, and it's kind of like sticking to those characteristics,
thief kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know that they kind of did it in Fallout New Vegas, where like instead of just being I can't remember exactly what their terms were, but pulling from Mass Effect, besides being a paragon or renegade throughout the entire region, you were actually a paragon or renegade per section. So then it mattered, like if you were a paragon at this city but a renegade at another city would actually matter. So you could go walk around the city like nothing is wrong. but you go to the other city and everybody hates you. So like that was just a little bit further into that immersion, and so I want more of that. I want to actually be role playing with my character. Anyway, that's what I've been playing.
Put a little role RP in the RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not just stats and like gear, right?
Yeah,
it's more than that.
More than just open world gaming. I want it to actually be role play gaming.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think the worst part, the worst thing that happened to me in Skyrim was when I turned into a vampire, or got infected as a vampire. Oh my god, that was so scary. And I'm like, oh my god, I want to be a vampire.
Yeah.
One of my several playthroughs of Skyrim, I went in a direction that I'd never gone in before off the start, and I found myself on this, like, I forget, it was like one of the islands, but you're not supposed to get there for a long time, and I somehow just got there, and I just kept getting my ass kicked, but then I couldn't get back, and I was just like, well, that's it for that playthrough. Let's start again.
Restart.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
Good. Yeah,
very
no matter
cool.
how many times you restart, you're like, no, I'm done with this game. I'm done with this game. And then it's like a couple of months go by and you're like, I need that itch again. I got the Skyrim time.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
My husband comes downstairs. He's like, you and your Skyrim. Like, you just don't understand.
I can quit anytime.
That's right.
Anytime I want.
Or can
I listen to Skyrim OST like all day long as well. So he's like, oh my gosh.
And then you play Skyrim on your Alexa.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. I eat all the cheese.
That's right.
It's the only reason I want an Alexa.
All right, Mark, you've been playing a couple of games as well?
Yes, I have. So I played Rain on Your Parade. That was a request or a suggestion from Brock McLaughlin, I believe, on the show a couple of weeks ago. He mentioned that, and it's on Game Pass. So I was like, you know what? Let's play some of that, because I was looking for something new and just kind of, I wanted more of a bite-sized experience, even though this game's a little longer than I anticipated. I'm very much enjoying it. It's got some really weird humor, very simple gameplay to just be able to pick up and just rain on people's parades. And I'm going through a very completionist run. So if I don't get something perfectly the first time, I'm like, nope, restart. I need to force everyone to get into the pool, or I need to trap someone in a dark room, even though those are like bonus missions or something. Like, you can complete the mission without doing every single objective. But no, I've been trying to 100% this game and get everything, and it's fun. If you have Game Pass, definitely check it out. And even if you don't, it's very weird, like almost Donut County level of like dumb humor that I really, really love. So it's very enjoyable.
It's very cute.
Yeah, it really is. And you so gameplay wise, you play as a cloud, and the premise is that there's this adult telling a child a story. You never really see them. You just kind of see shadows in tiny little cutscenes. But you play as like a cloud. It's very cardboard cutout-esque. You can actually draw your own face on. So I drew a face on for a while, and then I switched to, whoa, almost knocked my microphone over. Switched to, that was a good catch.
I'm just so excited.
I'm like super, I'm talking with my hands. Anyone watching the video realizes now how much I talk with my hands. And I'm going to try not to for the rest of them. I'm like going to hold my chair.
I just keep my hands below the screen when nobody sees them.
That's not going to work for me because I'll be all fidgety and stuff. So you play as a cloud, and you can draw your own face on and you get like accessories and stuff. So I kind of look like Drew Carey holding like a world's best cloud mug right now, which is just awesome. I've got like some thick glasses, and like, it's just great. And you just, like I said, you just do dumb little missions, and you press A to rain, and B is to do lightning, and you get snow. And I think that one's Y. And it's so fun and dumb. I love it. Another one I've been playing, the next game on my list, Lego Marvel Superheroes. Playing that one again with my wife.
Nice.
She loves the Lego games. She just finished her 80th run through of Lego Harry Potter collection. and said, "Do you want to play Lego Marvel?" And I bought. So there's the 3-pack that was on sale on Xbox. I think it's on sale right now on PlayStation as well. And that comes with Lego Marvel Superheroes, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and Lego Marvel Avengers, I believe. And it's like the ultimate collection of all 3 of them. Comes with all the DLC, all that kind of stuff. So we bought that. We're making our way through. We beat the story already. Now we're doing all like the 100% red bricks and all that kind of stuff. Once you get those brick multipliers, it's just ridiculous. So she goes after the gold bricks now, and my big focus is getting all the characters. So we're slowly unlocking all the characters, but for the very rare for me to actually achievement hunt, but I'm doing a bit of achievement hunting in this game because most of the achievements are so dumb and easy that I'm like, well, I might as well try for like as close to 1,000 gamer score as I can. So if you have to smash 15 cars as the thing, it's like, well, I guess I'll run around New York as the thing for 4 minutes and smash 15 cars. Like it's that kind of stuff. But like there are a few of them that are like, you have to collect every single character. Again, why I'm hunting all the characters down. And like, there's some like, yeah, really weird stuff. But like now that I kind of set myself down that path that I unlocked so many achievements so far, I'm kind of like, do I want 1,000 achievement point this thing? Is like, I don't do that ever. But when I'm playing with her, she's like, she gets like super focused on 100% completion. So I'm like, when in Rome, I guess we're going to like 100% Lego Marvel and then move on to Lego Marvel 2. So it's going to be like a fun little bit. And I already mentioned I was playing a tiny bit of Super Mario Galaxy and then grabbed that GameCube controller that I bought for Smash Brothers. And I was like cleaning up some stuff and I found that controller and I was like, you know what? Let's switch over to Sunshine. And I started a fresh new run of Sunshine and I'm really enjoying it. It's
Nice.
It's still a little janky. Like it's definitely, I would say, the least polished like Mario game, especially of the 3D ones. Like they've been so good, and this one you can tell was kind of like, we need to get this out. Like we launched the system with Luigi's Mansion, and people are like, "Where's Mario?" And we're like, "I don't know, bro, not finished." But like at some point, someone would just like release this. If it was out now, we'd be getting some patches because I'll tell you, it's some janky stuff, but it's still very much enjoyable. And it's, yeah, like you can even see the foundations of some of the stuff in Galaxy, especially where I played Galaxy and then jumped into this. Like you can see stuff especially when they take the pack off of you, or it's like some of the stages. What was one that I did like a couple of days ago? Like this is straight out of Galaxy, where you go and like there's a giant sandbird and you have to like jump on like the individual little things and collect it. It's yeah, very Galaxy-esque at times, but it's a neat little game in its own right. So if you have that 3D All-Stars collection and you skip this one to play 2 better games, like go back. But I also like highly suggest getting a GameCube controller because even the on-screen prompts are still GameCube-esque. So like you can really, I don't know, for me, for how my brain is wired weirdly, like seeing the X and Y buttons, especially because those buttons are a mess on every controller. Seeing like the shapes of them, of those little like weird gray beans, you can kind of be like, oh yeah, that's the one on the side. Oh yeah, that's the one on the top. And you know, like it's, I don't know. And there's something so satisfying about that massive A button that had no reason being that large on a controller. But I love the GameCube controller. It's awesome. Yeah. So that's,
it's funny because, well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my favorite part about Sunshine is jetpacking to places I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to be.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I love doing that kind of crap in Skyrim and like ending up places where I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to go. And in Sunshine it's just even better because the game's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do to you right now. Whereas like every other game's like, you can't be here, you need to turn around or you die. Whereas Sunshine's just like, you can't go that way. Hey, I said you can't go that way. Hey, will you come back, please?
We warned you.
Please?
We warned you.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's great.
Good
Where'd
luck.
they go? Like,
Yeah.
that's the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite, the Skyrim butt scoot, where you go backwards up an island or up a mountain, and you're not supposed to. I love that.
Yeah.
It's the worst traversal, but I love it. Love it. And I will tell you this: I never owned an N64, so I really missed out on 64. I played it in like a Best Buy kiosk. Super Mario Sunshine was my first Mario 3D Mario, and I love that game. And I cannot play 64 at all. I don't have that muscle memory. So to me, it's just kind of practically unplayable because I feel like I don't have nostalgia. I don't think it plays well at all comparatively.
Well, they also sped it up.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, it's just like those slidey levels. I feel like I don't know how anybody does this. Like when you're with the penguin and those things, I'm like, it is virtually unplayable. I don't know how people.
They
love
were
it,
always
so,
frustrating.
yeah.
That's why we threw the baby penguin off the stage.
That's well worth it. Yeah, yeah. Well,
we're
very
trying
quickly.
to teach our 2-year-old how to play classic Mario because there's like classic Mario on the NES through the Switch online or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, okay, push the button to jump, and then just move the stick this way. And so she does that. She just moves the stick one direction and presses A to jump. She's like, see.
Nice. That's awesome. Got to start him early.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
So I have been playing some games, and one of those would be Blood Roots by Paper Cult Studios. It's on Game Pass now. Man, oh man, I love this game. It is like it's like a Souls-like, but the greatest thing about this game is the short levels, and it's fantastic. And this game is basically essentially Mark. I think this guy is like from the Yukon. He's got like basically a dead bear on his head, and he's out killing people out in the Yukon. And the cool part about this game is everything is a weapon. And I mean everything. A carrot can kill a guy. A wagon, you can ride a wagon. It crashes into people. The wheels fall off. You can throw the wheels of the wagon, but they bounce off the walls. You can get I don't know, call it a spear with fish already on it. You can spear people. You can use swords as you slash. It also helps your traversal, so you can go across wide levels. It is so much fun. This game is fantastic. It has like these really weird bosses that you have to take on, and it's a wonderful game. It's highly addictive. It's challenging, but the levels are short. They're like maybe 5 minutes each, so you never feel like I'm not going to get through this. No, you can get through it. It's just how you want to go across it, and it's always a blast. And they give you so many ways to take out enemies. It's cartoonish, and I love it. It controls fantastically, and it is cloud saved between PC and Xbox and the cloud as well. So anywhere you play this game, your progress will be there. So that's my favorite thing about Xbox when it works. I hate it though when there's two games, one's on PC and one's on Xbox. Nope, your saves don't count. I'm like, get it together, Xbox. But when it works, it's great. So I love it. It's awesome. Blood Roots, it's fantastic. It's on Game Pass. I think it's like $15 on Steam or on PC or Xbox if you don't own that. So definitely recommend it. It's very cartoonish though. Like when you kill a boss, they spurt a little blood, but it's not like it's like anime kind of violence in a way. It's very cartoonish, not very in your face, but it's very cute. I also played a lot of VR, and I just want to focus on one game on Oculus called Pistol Whip. This game is a hoot. I love it. They added like basically an adventure mode, but this game feels like James Bond tied with John Wick, where you're going through a level with a just jamming soundtrack, and you're going through it. And as basically you're allowed with Oculus Quest, you can move anywhere, duck, dive, move to the side as bolts are coming through at you, and they stream at you, so you can kind of see their path, and it's just so wonderful. And when the soundtrack kicks in, and it's almost like a rhythm game, but you're killing people, and it's fantastic. And you just see them all around you, up in the air, to the side, and when you actually get them, it's like a ballet of just violence and sound, and it's so wonderful. But you will get a workout in. You get sweaty,
Nice.
You get steamy. But it is such a fun game, and I'm really have said I want to get more into VR, and this is the way I'm getting in there. I played Dance Central in VR, Mark, and my son took video of me.
Oh, I will pay him to send me that.
Turned down for what? For me. That was the song I was doing.
Okay.
And it was awesome. I love it that they made Dance Central from like all the way from, what was it? Connect. and they brought it onto VR, and it works perfectly. It's so much fun. So that's there too. But lastly, though,
name a price.
He hasn't shared it with me, so I don't know if it's real or not, or if he's thinking he can blackmail. But I'm like, you know what? I look probably pretty cool, so share it and share my legend is all I'll say. So there we go. And lastly, I picked up Control again. I beat the game, loved it. The DLC came out. I heard fantastic things about it. The frustrating thing about Control, I bought the Ultimate Edition because I'm like, I want the PS5 enhancements. They didn't do a very easy way of taking your base game and upgrading it on any console. Basically said, oh, we're going to give you the Ultimate Edition. That's how you play next gen. But your saves don't transfer.
Oops.
Yeah, and I'm not replaying a 25 ridiculously hard game again. So what I did was I just decided to play the PS4 version, which came with the DLC, and just play it, but also on the PS5. So essentially it's playing with stronger hardware, doesn't have the issues that the base game did on the old hardware, and now I'm playing the DLC. I'm playing the Foundation, and it's a lot of fun, really good. Basically, it kicks off right where you ended, and they are adding in new mechanics that weren't in the base game, and I'm really enjoying it. So if you really liked Control, this is well worth coming back, and that's what I'm going to have it. But this game reminded me how difficult this game is, and what they did is they added gated difficulty settings, and gated only in the fact that they make sure you really want to do this. So they're like, are you sure Control's meant to be a difficult game? And I'm like, oh, I'm sure, but they do it in a great way because it's not all or nothing. It's like increase ammo efficiency by 10%, damage by 10%. So it's an increment, so you can kind of feel like rather than hit your head on your PC or your Xbox controller or throw it at the TV, it's just saying, I need a little help to get through this because I really enjoy the game, but I still want a challenge, but I don't want to be baby mode. So I want more games to do that. Just give me a little bit of help.
I'm sorry, did you just diss story mode by calling it baby mode?
He did.
No, I'm not, because I have played baby mode, because that's how I played Celeste. I played Celeste with all of the additions because I'm like, I don't enjoy the actual gameplay because I'm not that good at it. So I don't want to be frustrated, but I've heard so many good things about the story. I just want the story. So
I find that
I'm not
really
dissing
funny because like I always play story mode, like 100%. Always easy mode, story mode. That's just me because I don't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
It frustrates me. But what's funny is I played Celeste a couple of times for when we were still Stadia Source. And I get, like, I mean, obviously I was terrible at it, but I didn't realize that I was supposed to be upset that I was terrible at it. Because people are like,
Sure,
this game is so hard, and I'm just falling. I'm like, oops, dang it. Well, fell again. But I'm like, I don't care that I died, because I thought that's how platformers were supposed to be, but apparently everybody else gets mad.
Yeah, I was the same. And I just talked about was it Alex Kidd in Miracle World and how frustrating that game was until I started thinking about it like Meat Boy or Celeste. And I didn't turn any of the easy mode stuff on Celeste during my playthrough. I beat that game 100% without turning anything on, not because I was above that at all, but because I didn't realize until like the very end that was even an option. I just picked up that game and was just like, I'm in love with every minute of this. Let's just keep going. And I finally paused it for a second and was like, wait a second. I can dial things down. Oh my goodness. But then I like got into the top of the mountain and I was just like, well, there's no quit now. Guess, but it was the same thing. It was like, I wasn't frustrated with it. It was just the game. But yeah,
like because it was nice because you die, but you don't restart the whole game. Whereas like with other things where you die, it sends you back like 15 minutes. This just sent you back to the beginning of that screen. It's just like, died again. Died, like, oh my gosh, I should probably go find the stupid video because like I probably said dang it like 500 times in 1 hour span.
Bloodroots is just like that. Bloodroots, they minimize the pain and they get you right back into it. Whereas a game like Control, where you die, and you have to go through so much to get back to where you died at, and it's like I'm not really enjoying the fact that I have to repeat what I was beating already. I want to be able to practice at the spot that was difficult, and when they and then you've eliminated half your health potions and things like that. That's where I struggle with, like, I really want save anywhere to be a thing now versus checkpoints that just are not intuitive and they don't make any sense. But Control is one of those games where nope, you got to go all the way back here, and it just really eliminates the fun. So I was perfectly happy in the load times. Unfortunately, the SSD is not optimized, even though it's on better hardware. It's just not optimized. The newer version is, so the load times are faster, but they're not fast. So, but yeah, I think it's really good, and I'm glad that they gave me that ability because it's making the game has a great story. But I also enjoy the combat, and I still want a challenge. So it's that fine line, and I want more opportunities for people to enjoy games at the level they want to play at. So
I will say another thing that's frustrating about like dying in a game that sends you back like to your last save is when you have to listen to the same dialogue over and over.
Or a cutscene again.
Yeah. So like what drives me nuts the most was so my husband played through The Last of Us, the first game. And we were both like, this could be a really good game. And the premise behind like what happened with the zombies, like how it was actually like a fungus infection, like that was really cool. And they started off the story with a really interesting hook of, I don't know if this is considered a spoiler, but Joel's daughter dies. And it's kind of sort of his fault. But also not really, but kind of sort of is. And so we were like, oh my gosh, this is heartbreaking. And we were like so invested in the story. And then it was filled with like cuss words from that point on. And every time he died, we'd have to re-listen to the dialogue of people swearing up a storm. And we're like, we're done with this game. So he finished it. We haven't even touched Last of Us 2 because like I read through the story of it and it just looks awful. Like I don't understand why anybody would want to play this game.
Oh, the story is so good.
It ends in the worst possible way.
You can't read the story.
I read the whole story.
It doesn't matter. It's like I would say this: reading a story in a video game without actually seeing the video game happen and the journey there. It's like listening to a movie with what you can see on the screen.
Okay, so but Ellie. The issue that I have with these kinds of games is that you don't actually control the story. Like, you can't actually make the character make a good decision. She makes the stupidest, dumbest decision ever.
Correct.
And you can't tell her not to do that.
Just like you can't tell people what to do. Because it's like, you can't tell people what to do. People make dumb decisions. And it's like even in movies, like, people make the dumb decisions. Like, why would you do that? And it's like, because it's still a narrative. And you can't have choices with the impact,
and that's like the reason I don't like horror games is because it's not you don't really control the narrative. Because if it was a horror game, I'd walk the other way. I wouldn't go into that house. Like I'm sorry, you're screwed. Yeah. You're screaming in there, and there's blood flying in the
narrative.
Windows.
Yeah.
But like
I would say
anyway.
I totally get it. But I would say reading the story. Like I would say, read the Breath of the Wild story. You'd be like, that's dumb. I'm not playing that game. And it's all in the context of what happens. Like, you don't want to read a movie script without actually seeing it happen.
But the Breath of the Wild game isn't about the story. Last of Us 2 is supposed to be about the story. So that's comparing apples and oranges.
Correct. But it's like, read the Walking Dead story, and it's like, you can't because it's branching paths, and it's like, oh my God, where's it going? And it's like, yeah, games are meant to be played. And the story it's really good. The story is great. And people said, I read the story, I didn't like it, and then they actually played the game. They like, but completely changed. There's
like killing people who are pregnant and throwing entrails everywhere and like beheading people, and it's the same reason I don't watch Game of Thrones. I don't need that.
I totally get that. Yeah.
But anywho, going back to the point of the whole thing, I like saves constantly. I am like auto save every 5 minutes, and I will probably save every 1 minute as well on my own. So
that's the benefit. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of PC, and we'll actually talk about that in the back half. So that is it, what we've been playing. So yeah, check out all these games we've been playing, folks. All these developers have done an awesome job, and they are making games we love. So very quickly, as we move to the news, we just wanted to touch on this story that's very big right now. It's not kind of even controversial. It is really just a be good story, because we want the companies that make the games we love to treat people with compassion, equality, and not allow people that are victimizing and treating people horribly to allow to be in positions of power. And I don't know what else to say about this. Activision Blizzard has had a lawsuit brought to them by the state of California after 2 years of review. As of right now, Activision has put out a statement that they essentially vehemently deny these claims. And essentially, we've also had personnel who work for the studio, 1,000 signatures essentially saying that they want action and disapprove of the actions of their employer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have thoughts on this. Is one, obviously something is going on. Obviously something has been going on. But two, the investigative company needed to do this in a better way. Because ATV has said they were supposed to be coming into this in good faith, as every investigation should be. You come into it unbiased.
Mm.
And so ATV has said that the investigative company came into this without basically saying you can't change our mind, which is a poor way of doing investigations, because if you do an investigation the right way, then there's nothing that the company you're investigating can say against you.
Mm-hmm.
They will have no fodder to use against you. And this is millions of well, not millions, but this is hundreds of cases of he said, she said, they said, we said, of every degree. I am by no means diminishing that something did happen, and to those of you who something did happen to you, I am so sorry. That is terrible, and nobody should go through this. Everybody should be treated as a human being and not as an object. However, the story is still unfolding, so I'm not going to be passing any judgment on it at this point. I just sincerely hope that whatever the truth is does come to light.
Mm-hmm.
And also, HR, do your freaking job. Don't stand up for the big guy. You stand up for the small guy. That is literally the purpose of an HR position.
Mm-hmm.
If you are concerned that you're going to lose your job because you are reporting the truth, that's what you signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I would say the position of HR is actually to keep the company out of trouble. It's actually not to protect employees. It's to protect the company from lawsuits. And unfortunately, that's the truth. They often approach positions based on the company's position, not in the employee's best interest. And that is a problem. HR companies, every company, HR, they struggle with that because it's the fine balance. And a lot of HR leaders, unfortunately, are tied into the leaders and not necessarily able to give them the tools to act out against the leaders. And that's a problem. It's just a problem of HR in general. They don't have the tools to enact those things if it's not in the company's best interest, unfortunately.
And I can understand that too, but it's always been my understanding that the HR representative, whoever I go talk to tell somebody that something is going wrong where I am working, should pursue that, especially if I approach them with evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Not to just say, don't take it personally, or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Correct.
And like, I've even had this direct experience, and it wasn't for anything like terrible, like some of these people have reported, but it was enough that I was extremely uncomfortable with my position in the workforce. And so when I talked to them, they said, well, don't take it personally. I was like, excuse me, this has nothing to do about personal stuff. But anyway, that's a whole side story.
Absolutely.
Activision Blizzard, I think this company, like, I even did like a whole I studied them for one of my college classes. So I feel like I know a decent amount about them. And it's a shock that one of these companies that is the biggest company could have so much of this going on. No matter what place you go, men and women will be treated as an object by the other sex in some way. But to be at this degree and to not have anything been said for the last 2 years while this is happening is kind of odd. So I'm just waiting to see where this turns up in about 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad I'm not there.
Mhm.
I'd recommend you guys check out a video from a BlizzCon where a woman asks. I don't know if you guys have seen the video.
It's terrible.
It's
No.
terrible, and it just represents, unfortunately, a part of the culture that was part of Blizzard
Mhm.
at the time. That was basically allowed a woman to ask a question and basically be ridiculed. And this was a fan.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad. And this is by the creators of that game. These were the leaders of that company. And they essentially allowed, unfortunately, that puts the thing out saying, well, if they said that in front of people in an audience.
That's the thing. It's like, this is like
it's where there's smoke, there's fire,
event.
unfortunately.
And she asked, it was like a pretty decent question. Like, she wasn't being ridiculous about anything. It was like, you know, is there any way you can make some characters, like female characters, that don't look like they came out of a fashion model? Or I think she named
Victoria's Secret
catalog. Yeah. And they basically joked of like, oh, well, what catalog should we take these women out of, or what magazine or something, and like
see or whatever. And
like,
I'm like, oh,
this, it was like everything. It was the most frat boy kind of like bullshit humor or whatever you want to call it. That it was just like listening to that, I was just like, wow. And like you said, Todd, 100% of just like, if this is what they're saying in front of a massive audience, and the woman's face said it all when they finished, it was just like, oh, like, click unsubscribe right now. See you guys. Thanks for a non-answer, and basically just saying like, no, these women are objects. Like, we're going to take the next ones at a Playboy instead of Victoria's Secret. Cool beans. Yeah, thanks. Like, that was their dismissive answer to it. And it was just like, you guys suck so hard. And this is, like you said, Todd, this is your public answer.
Female gamers is like, I have the saying, you know, gamers are gamers no matter who you are, where you're from, or what you play. But female gamers of that group have been on the rise. Like, we love video games too, and we can have serious questions too. And that's always kind of bugged me too when it comes to like the way that women are represented in video games. There's a joke that it was like, sweet armor for the men, bikinis for the women. Mm-hmm. It's like, but I want that chest piece because that looks really cool. Mm-hmm. And if you go through like shield maidens of history, were fully decked out in armor. Mm-hmm. They weren't just skimpy things because they were warriors too, and so you had to protect the stomach and the legs and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's never like, I don't mind form-fitted armor because yes, accentuate the fact that you are a woman. There's nothing to hide there. But skimpy armor makes zero sense in like every regard.
And in a game that gives you so much choice for other parts of characterization, especially if it gives you so much choice for male characters, where you can, if you want to, run around as a super buff He-Man with a loincloth of protection on. Cool. But if you also want to look like a walking tank, then of armor, then you can do that too. But the walking tank option doesn't exist for females. Instead, you get like, you know, your super tank armor equivalent. Like if there was a slider between like that, you could just pick male or female, and you had the exact same armor set on. Like the male version would be like massive tank armor, and the girl would be like a string bikini that's shimmery silver. And it's like, that's not the same damn armor set. Like, come on.
No, it's not.
Like, and but that was the kind of answer that these guys gave, and it's like the kind of thing that's reflected in the culture in the game. And it's like, okay, that kind of answer plus 1,000 employees. Like,
I'm curious the balance of male to female in those signatures.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the company is 80% male, 20% female is what they said the makeup of the company was.
Yeah.
So it largely depending on where it's at. And actually, you know, this is Activision Blizzard. Activision essentially formed or acquired, I can't remember what the fix was. And the people that literally formed Blizzard are really no longer with the company to a large extent, and they've had some change in leadership. So we don't know if this is a holdover of old, company culture as a way, because companies have a culture regardless of what it is and where it lies and things like that. So, I mean, and obviously this is a big issue, so we are not going to solve it today. But I guess it would be depending on where you stand and where you want this to be, and based on what Activision Blizzard has said, and now what a lot of these employees are saying, the only way a company will listen is by how you financially support them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do not approve this, do not go then and play the latest Diablo. Those things, you're just basically saying, yeah, I'm saying one thing, but I'm doing the other. So if you do support the company, you're saying there's more to be done, maybe wait until more happens before you buy the game. But, we're not telling what you do, but this is the reality of it.
Mhm.
Company's conscience is guided by its wallet, not necessarily by complaints.
In my little Twitter sphere, and I know I have a pretty small and curated audience of people who usually tend to kind of agree with my mindset. But I've seen a lot of people so far already being like, canceled my pre-order for Diablo, canceled my WoW subscription, like not buying the next Call of Duty, not doing this, not doing that. And like, I've been a
That's really good.
passive Call of Duty fan for years anyway. And, I'll be skipping the next one at least until this is like you said, Carly, like I'd like to see more come of this. Like we're in very early stages. The company's saying one thing, employees are saying that there's such an overwhelming amount of employees that there's got to be something, whether or not it's getting a tiny bit like expounded or like this is 100% legit. It remains to be seen. But like for me, I'm erring on the side of the employees to believe them 100% because I like to believe people rather than a company that's just trying to make money and continue to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like, I will believe the employees until I'm 100% proven wrong. And I will never believe Activision until they're 120% proven right. Like it's, I don't know. That's just my mindset of like, there's such overwhelming evidence that like, no, like there's no victim shaming going on. It's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I was reading over them and I started reading them out loud to my husband and I was like, I don't even want to be reading these because they make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I am blessed to be surrounded by men in the GSN who support me like wholly. There have been a couple of times when we've had guests on the show and like our guest isn't meaning this to be like rude, not necessarily, but it is a bit of like an innate reaction to the things that are said, and because I am a woman, and so it's just kind of like, oh, it's just a joke, but like immediately it gets shut down. Like, you do not do this to Scarlett. Like, we won't have you back. You don't say it, you don't think it, you just don't. And so like, I am blessed to be in this group of men who care about me as an individual, but there are millions of women out there who do not have that because they work for bigger companies, because they actually have to like go into workplaces where they're essentially looked down on, and not just women, but there are even men who have to go through this. And I just feel so sorry for no matter who you are or what you consider yourself to be. Like, if you ever have to go through this, it's terrible. To any degree. But like, some of the stories that they've been saying of what has been going on are just sickening. Like, I don't think, like, I had a churning in my stomach. It just, and my heart was like clenched. It just, I couldn't like sorry, I'm getting emotional now. I have a lot of empathy. And so when I read these things, like, I can almost put myself into their shoes, and just the feeling of shame and depression and utter hopelessness that can come from being in situations like this, because I have been in similar situations, and it's just like, why would anybody ever want to do these kinds of things to somebody? The
thing that gets me is I don't know if this is the same. Maybe it's like a age group or something with me. But growing up in a small place, very sports minded, all this kind of stuff in my community, being like the geeky, small gamer guy left me out of a lot of stuff and like kind of instantly got me dismissed. And like I work at a car dealership. It's not a bad place to work, but I'm still not part of that boys club that kind of exists with like the sales team and stuff. Like I run the digital marketing website, social media, all that kind of stuff for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I, you know, like I post pictures of like the golf trip, and I have no interest in going on the golf trip, but it's still kind of be like, fuck, I'd like an invite. But like, you know, like it's like being, but like you'd think if a group of people was going to get what it's like to be dismissed because of who we are or what we like, it'd be I always just thought it was going to be gamers. You know, that's one thing that I loved about finding these online communities was like, oh shit, I'm accepted just by being a gamer. That's awesome. So to hear this, it's like, yeah, like just stand up for your fellow geeks. Like, I don't get it. It's just like maybe it's like we're the ones that were picked on, so now we have to pick on someone or something. But it's like the frat boy sports club thing is the exact thing that I wanted to run away from as a kid, and gaming is where I went. And now to like hear that gaming is that same kind of thing, it just crushes me.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think one of the problems with it is there's more people who want to be in the game industry than game positions. So a lot of people are probably saying, well, if I can just get through this,
Yeah.
or if I can just survive,
the door.
Better days are ahead.
Which is even worse.
Absolutely,
Oh,
because you're just basically accepting to be treated horribly, paid less, and potentially not even ever going to get the opportunity, because that mentality will continue to keep people out of opportunities and only allow people that accept that behavior to be promoted. Like Mark, the people that want to go on that, I love sports, so I'm in that group versus you. And that mentality is, I'm in an old company, and my company is the same way, where geek culture was rarely accepted, and all these things. It's coming around because the faces of the company are changing. Women are having more roles, which are great. And my company is like one of the top 5 companies for women. But it takes a long time to get there, especially for startups and things like that in gaming, where there's not always a culture that drives those good, and they don't always have ethics like written down as their drive or their vision or their mission. And unfortunately, Activision, you know, the leader is Bobby Kotick, and Bobby Kotick is not known for his visionary skill, his treatment of people. It's for his ability to give shareholders their money, not necessarily making it a great place to work. Because Activision Blizzard has never been one of the best places to work since they merged. So I guess we should leave it at that.
Yep.
But once again, there's lots out there. Read up on it. Let us know what you think, because we'd love to hear your guys' take on it. So,
and love your fellow person.
Absolutely, be good. Be nice to each other.
Yeah, just be nice.
And watch out for others too. If you can help people, do it. So on that note, we probably need to lighten the mood a little bit. But we've been running long, actually, which is perfectly fine. But we just want to probably hit on these other stories very quickly. So EA Play. So guys, this is EA's event. It's about a month after E3, which actually it's almost 2 months after E3, which is crazy. Anything stand out from EA Play?
I don't watch EA very much because I don't play really any of their games.
We're gonna go through this really quickly, because once they said they weren't doing Star Wars, I tuned out.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Or no BioWare. So it's like you really get no Star Wars, no BioWare, so no Dragon Age.
Completely, man. As soon as they were like, we're not talking about Star Wars or anything, I was just like, see ya.
Yep.
So
yeah, so I mean, I can just tell you the highlights really quick. So Battlefield 2042, if you're into it, it's a $70 multiplayer only game. The only thing they made that was cool is called Portal Mode, which essentially allows you to build like levels with, say, it's the 1942 Nazis versus like the 2010 abilities and basically military of 2010 going into Afghanistan. So you can make all of these weird war scenarios, which I think is very interesting. But
That's kind of yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. But if you're not into Battlefield, I don't think this is going to push anybody to Battlefield, especially at $70.
Full price multiplayer, man. In this day and age, it's just a tough sell.
Yeah, we had Grid Legends, that's the racing studio they acquired. I forgot the name of the studio, but they're making a Grid Legends game. But the funny part about that game is they're going full on like Fast and Furious movie mode in that game, so it's going to have like a full like FMV like story with a racing game. Yeah, there's that. Yeah, and then I'd say the big game that was, just kind of announced, but it was kind of spoiled, was Dead Space is getting a makeover, a remake.
I did see that trailer.
Yeah, and it's coming to next gen only though, next gen only in PC. So this one's going to be full from the ground up, and they essentially found things from the initial Bible of the game that they said they couldn't do back on old platforms. So they're going to try to incorporate those things that were held back by technology, and that's pretty cool.
Neat. All right.
Yeah, I love Resident Evil, so this game is Resident Evil in space. I'm all ready to go back in and kill some creatures with some engineering gear,
Cut off
which is pretty
limbs.
cool.
That was the trailer thing, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Then we get into Netflix is going into gaming, basically, and it's going to be a mobile first endeavor. And at this point, we don't know when this will actually show up and how they're going to achieve this. But we've talked about the Netflix of games. Well, Netflix is maybe trying to recapture that name. Yeah. They'll be the Netflix of Netflix gaming. So I think what makes this interesting to me, and I want your opinions, of course, is the fact that Netflix actually has properties. They have Stranger Things, they have The Witcher now, they have a Castlevania animated series. So they are building their own category of IP, whereas comparative to like an Apple Arcade, Apple doesn't have any IPs. Apple just has a bunch of games that they don't make. So this is maybe a differentiator, and this will not be at a cost. This is tied into your Netflix subscription. For now, exactly. A lot of people are saying, though, this is really for audience retention. Because they're kind of at like, I don't know how they grow even bigger, but this is a way to keep people around if they give them something else, which HBO Max, Disney Plus, no other streaming service is offering something like this. So it is something new.
So you say that, things like HBO Max and Disney Plus aren't offering anything, but that's not necessarily true. Disney Plus is the offering.
Oh, correct. Well, just like Netflix.
So going off of that though, Netflix is literally just Netflix. They only do movies and they only do video or TV shows. If those things were to crash, Netflix would be done. If Disney Plus were to crash, Disney would say, whatever, we don't care. So Netflix has been needing for years now something in addition to what they already do as not just another means of income, but also a backup in case TV and movies just, for whatever dumb reason, stopped being a popular thing. But what's nice about this is that they're doing the smart thing of doing mobile games first, because it may not seem like it, but mobile phone gaming or tablet gaming is actually one of the most profitable and most popular forms of gaming right now. Part of that is from cloud gaming making it possible to play your games on your phone wherever you go, but also mobile games themselves, things like Candy Crush or Fruit Ninja, those hot ticket games that maybe you haven't played, but you've certainly heard of, are super popular. It's easy to get money from players because, for $1, for the next week, you can play it a lot faster. So people are like, oh, okay, what's $1? But then that dollar becomes $10 a week because they're like, what's $10 a week? And so that's a really easy way of getting money to come in. Sorry to bring this up, but Activision's most popular stuff comes from their acquisition of King, who does Candy Crush. So having Netflix first branch into mobile games is probably the smartest thing I've actually seen anybody do recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's such a force for mobile games. Like, heck, Mario Run, for Pete's sake. Like, that is a super popular mobile game too. So kudos to them for finally listening to what Jason and I have been talking about for years now. Jason's my husband, by the way.
Hey,
But
Jason.
also kudos for doing the right thing of going into mobile games. But it is funny that it coincided with their report of the first slowdown in subscriptions in 8 years. So they obviously saw it coming. We're like, okay, we have a plan though, guys. So shareholders, don't worry, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the reason why they're going mobile first too is because they just don't have a local way to play on like everybody else has.
They don't need to though either. They don't need
Yeah.
to be the next console. We already have the PS5 and the Xbox and the PCs, and they don't need to be the next cloud platform. We already have Stadia, GFN, and various other things that I can't think of because those are the only two that I know. Oh, Luna. Sorry, Luna.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
others.
they make the hardware though, so they eventually
Yeah.
could make something that connects to any Bluetooth controller. So PS4,
There will be a
so yeah.
Netflix deck.
Oh
one
yeah,
of these days.
Yeah, just like Apple TV has, that brings games to your TV.
Mhm.
So I think they have a way to bring. I mean, hardware right now where. Which Disney Plus doesn't have hardware, so they reliant on Roku Roku and other devices to do that.
Smart
Netflix doesn't
TVs.
either. Yeah, Netflix is still require that, but most people get their Netflix via device, so they have a way to do that. But they still have to partner with somebody to do it. So it'll be interesting to see if they do this. And I think
that's the interesting thing that for me anyway is how this is going to be delivered, because if you look at every streaming platform so far, the big issue that they're running into is Apple, and is trying to stream on an Apple device, which is in a billion friggin' hands across the globe. And when you look at the hoops that people are having to run across,
is the Apple Epic thing still going?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not decided yet.
Okay.
And there's going to be further lawsuits out of that. I mean, we just saw finally Xbox come out with a browser-based game streaming app, which is xCloud. It's good, but not as good as a dedicated actual app would be that can take advantage of all of the app's APIs. And tapping into the system more than a browser can, even though Apple has increased browsers, I think, to kind of curb a little bit of the lawsuits that are coming up. But will these be able to be played in the Netflix app, or will it change? Is the addition of gaming into the current Netflix app, the issue there is that not only could they not get away with that, but it could also completely erase Netflix from the App Store. Which would be brutal for anyone who has Netflix on their phone or iPad or device that way. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go with this. Maybe it's browser based, maybe it's separate. Right now, I don't even know if you're allowed to remind people inside an app that there's a gaming thing that you can get. Like, that's another problem with like this discoverability that these gaming companies that are running into with Apple, of like, use our in-app purchases, you can't have game streaming. And also the one of the big issues is you can't tell people to go outside of the app, because then that's outside of the App Store, which doesn't get Apple money. So the whole thing is just such a mess right now that I don't even know how they're going to do this. And throwing another player into there with Stadia and Xbox and all of these other companies, it's like throwing another streaming game platform in. It's like, is Apple going to fight yet another company? Are they finally going to give in? I just can't wait to see that, like, how this all shakes out. Like, it's interesting.
It might be time for Netflix to buy Roku, and maybe that's how they get the hardware situation squared away. But until then, they're going to be at the whim of being on other platforms they don't control.
Well, even buying Roku though, I mean, that's built into my TV, but my TV is not the default place that I go to do stuff. So am I going to be dedicated enough to Netflix gaming that I'm going to switch where I usually watch my Netflix on, or where I play Netflix, or like, is
Good
it,
question.
you know what, like it's going to be weird. Like I usually watch Netflix either through my Xbox or through my Apple TV. And if Xbox is like, no, you're not having cloud gaming on our gaming device, like middle fingers to you. No, thank you.
But Mark, we're for the gamers. Anybody can play anywhere.
Right. And maybe Microsoft will
Yeah.
do that just to prove a point
Sure.
in its lawsuit against
Yeah.
Apple. Maybe. But it's just going to be so weird to be like, okay, well, you can play Netflix gaming here, but you can't play it here. You can play it in the app here, but on this device, it has to be browser. It's such a mess right now.
Well,
I can't wait to see how it actually ends up being played.
and it really won't matter if the games suck.
Yeah. And that's the other thing.
So,
like,
It'll matter to them.
it'll be what? Queen's Gambit Chess Match 3, maybe that, or Stranger Things. I don't know. I don't even want to make it up. 80s jam. But yeah, so we'll see. It's going to be the games. If the games are worth it, they'll find a way, maybe. But if not, then who knows? But they do have properties that people love, so we'll go from there. Very quickly, though, Netflix Pokemon live-action TV series. I made fun of this because the guy they picked to make this is behind Lucifer. This ain't a guy that's making PG-13 stuff. He's making hardcore devil shows.
Yeah, that's kind of the funny
Explain
part
yourself,
about it.
Nintendo.
Well,
Nintendo
that's
just
the thing,
owns
though,
a
is it's not
piece of
actually Nintendo.
No, they just own a
No,
piece
no,
of the
but-
Pokemon company.
They own like almost 30% of the They are a controlling member. That's why Pokemon games
Yeah,
will never be on other
But
platform.
Nintendo
So,
kind of lets Pokemon do its own thing.
Oh, yeah.
Hence why Pokemon is the same game over and over, just a new name.
absolutely, yeah. But it's still funny though. It's like Netflix. Let's put it this way: as a firm, they would never let Pokemon do something that would damage the brand.
Yeah,
Detective
Yeah.
Pikachu
And
was
that's the other-
fantastic.
yeah, and well,
Yeah, it was
actually,
fun.
yeah, it was pretty cute.
I loved it, man. That was such a
Pikachu was so fluffy too.
yeah.
I have no problems with the director being the same guy who did Lucifer. I've never watched Lucifer, but I know that it's extremely popular, which is a good thing.
It's popular enough to have been canceled, unfortunately.
Well,
So
I mean, there's a lot of shows that are popular, but they still get canceled.
it's got about 3 million viewers. So, and they are not. There's not a good crossover between Pokemon and Lucifer, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I
but
would say that.
knowing how to run
Frick.
something can still help.
It can, yeah.
To me, just because someone was a showrunner on a certain genre show doesn't mean that they're not running up with ideas for other things. Great
He
example.
could be a mega Pokemon fan.
Exactly. And there's a
Could be.
couple of fantastic examples. Like, would you give the guys that directed a few episodes of Community one of the biggest franchises of all time?
Absolutely. Yep.
Why would you do that? You're crazy. Except everything that the Russo brothers touched for Marvel was gold. Same thing. Okay. Would you trust a millionaire MMA fighter from Friends that had a bit part in like 2 episodes and then directed Elf?
Sure.
Would you trust him to launch the MCU? Probably not. But like Jon Favreau is a friggin' genius and is like doing Star Wars stuff too. So if you asked me like 20 years ago, like, hey, you know that jackass that just got his like ass beaten in Friends and like directed Elf? Yeah, he's going to launch like an amazing Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then he's going to like do stuff with The Mandalorian and just bring a whole new generation of Star Wars love. I'd be like, you're crazy. But he did it. So for me, it's like, you know what? Like this guy could be a massive Pokemon fan. He could have other ideas. He could want to branch out with something completely different, or he could bring a cool dark twist to Pokemon. I'm excited about it either way.
I mean, Detective Pikachu did kind of bring to light some of that darkness. We had
Sure.
underground fighting rings and the back
Pitfire
alleys and all
Pokemon.
that stuff,
Yeah.
which was like, it's totally terrible, but it was like the coolest thing ever. And then they used like Loudred for the actual speakers, and it was like, I've never loved a Pokemon as much as I love Loudred right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm excited because I think TV is actually the in entertainment right now.
Oh yeah.
Especially not just because theaters are shut down, but with a TV show, you get at least 4 hours of a story. If it's an 8 episode, half-hour episode season, that's 4 hours as opposed to like an hour and a half, 2 hour movie that you have to sit down at one time and pay $27 for. This, but most shows are around 45 minutes an episode, and they're usually around 10 or 11 episodes. That's a whole dang story, and you really get to actually flesh out the details, flesh out the characters, and so like I'm excited to see what kind of new detail we can get from the Pokeverse by doing a TV show that's not the canon anime. Because those are also typical. We've had the same 12-year-old Ash for 25 years now.
Yeah.
He always loses, and Pikachu's always there. And for some reason, Pikachu can defeat legendaries, but the second he goes up against like a Bunnelby, he's like dead. I don't understand. So anyway, I think you can tell which series we've been watching from that recently.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what we can get from a live action, because I think Detective Pikachu actually brought the attention of Pokemon to a larger audience, because there's a lot of people in the older generation who are like, if it's cartoons, it's not for adults. Wrong. There are a lot of amazing animated stuff that are targeted towards adults and are phenomenal. So maybe doing a live action TV series will also kind of fulfill a need that I have as somebody who's had Pokemon my whole life, but it hasn't grown up with me. I want something more grown up. Like, I loved that about Detective Pikachu, was that it was a bit more grown up.
Yeah.
There was some darkness going on there, but not like an adult darkness. It was a real life, realistic kind of darkness. And there was loss, and there was mystery, and there was love, and there was fear. And I was just like, I love this. It's not even like the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it's Pokemon for me. Not for my kids, for me. And so I'm hoping to see that when it comes to a live action TV series, is that it'll still be fun for the kids, because you're like, oh, it's Pikachu. Oh my gosh, Pikachu's real. You're like, I know, right? Isn't he cool? He's so fluffy. But then I'll be sitting there and I'm like, this is such a good story. Like, I want that. I'm sure you guys have probably watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. Meant for kids. No, you haven't seen it?
No.
Mark.
Sorry.
Well, meant
Shame.
for kids, but with a lot of mature themes. There's war, there's death, there's love, there's loss. Like, there's all of that kind of stuff, but it's hidden into, the kid cartoony stuff, because I think it was Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
It was Nickelodeon. Yep.
It was Nickelodeon. Yeah. So it was meant for the kids, but there's a lot of really grown up themes. And so I was like, I can watch this at 12 and at 27 and still love it. Like, anywho, so that's what I want from the TV series. I'm a big Poke nerd. I love it all. And I want to see it finally grow up. And if they still want to do the 12-year-old Ash cartoon, do that. But do something for those who have been here for the whole 25 years as well. That's what I need.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of a lot of these, when they go live action, is to bring in a different audience. I mean, just like Detective Pikachu did. And I mean, you can only do so much with the anime style they've adapted. It's very much like a Saturday morning cartoon. I watched it when it was on. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's not great. The animation's sometimes so-so. The storytelling is so-so. It's very cartoonish. Team Rocket.
They've been using like a lot of meme faces too, which are
yeah,
annoying.
And some people just don't like anime. They could it could be the best story in the world. It's anime. I do not, and this is a great way to make it different and bring in life in a different way. And to your point, Netflix puts money behind their series, so it could be good. The biggest thing that's surprising to me is Nintendo has a relationship with Universal Studios. Surprising that is not where they're going with, or is it Universal? Yeah, it's Universal. Maybe they could get behind like the Peacocks. That's the streaming platform they have, but maybe that's just not universal enough. Maybe it's not enough in enough households, things like that. But this could be cool. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, maybe this guy pitched the greatest idea in the world, and he's like, I'm done with Lucifer, and I'm going to hang out with some Pokemons.
So I'm not a huge fan of a lot of things that Netflix takes over because they tend to Netflixize it in a way that I don't care for. One case being, we were watching Designated Survivor. Really great first couple seasons. Loved the guy. Plus, like, I mean, Jack Bauer as president. How much better does it get? But then it went on to Netflix, and in the first episode, there was like 3 F-bombs in the first 10 minutes. And we're like, well, we're not watching this. And they've done that with quite a few series that we watched. But what they've done good is revitalizing old things. She-Ra, Voltron. They've got the He-Man thing right now, which is like a good little like nostalgia because it's still kind of dorky, but it's the updated animation and like kind of a better story. And they've had a couple of their own gems that have actually worked out that are pure Netflix. And I think Extinction was one of them with Ant-Man's friend was like the main actor. You know, the one who like tells stories like, yeah, she's super fine kind of stuff. Anyway, so they've had a couple of good ones there too, but I think they've actually excelled when it comes to animated stuff is revitalizing things. And so I'm hoping that with it being Pokemon, this will be in that same vein of their success with their revitalizing as opposed to their we're going to do our own thing. Because when they are taking over something that was from a while ago, especially She-Ra, like that actually worked out really good. So I'm hoping that it'll be more towards that. Like, you know, we're taking something that already exists, so there are rules and there are boundaries that we can't break. That people have loved for, you know, years now, as opposed to it being a new thing so we can do whatever we want. But if it's an older thing, they'll be like, okay, we actually have to kind of stick with what the audience wants as opposed to what we want.
Well, Nintendo typically does not partner, and Pokemon Company does typically not partner with people that are going to do wrong with their franchise. So I think...
Well, and if they don't like it, knowing how
it wouldn't
Nintendo
go
and
for it.
Pokemon go, they'd be like, okay, we're just done.
Yep.
And I think
Absolutely.
they actually just did that. There was like supposedly a I think it was going to be a Zelda.
It was going to be a
thing.
Zelda series, and it got leaked, and they said no.
Yep, and they're like, nope,
which is just the silliest thing in the world. It's like, we could give you the greatest thing in the world.
The rules.
Nope. Oh my god, Nintendo! My goodness, they're still feeling burned by the Super Mario Brother movie. 35 years later. Oh my goodness, Bob Hoskins, bless his soul. And last story, really tying into our bonus round. So thanks for sticking around, folks, for this, because we got this actually happened, after we recorded last episode. Steam Deck has been announced. This is essentially, and I actually have a article on SecretFriendsunite.com about this, kind of go into all the details about it. So I won't bore you with more details, but this is essentially portable PC gaming on the go, created by Steam, starting at $3.99, going all the way up to $6.49. Basically it's allowing you to get PC gaming on the go, but it can also be docked to a TV with a simple USB hub. So, and it basically is a 7-inch screen with a 800p resolution. And man, oh man, this just was totally surprising. And I just think this is cool. It's releasing in December of 2020. Pre-orders are in. I actually got one in.
Cool.
I'm not sure if I will go with it, but I think it's a cool idea. But I have a pre-order in, so if anybody wants that and I choose not to get it, obviously I will share that. But it's out. So this essentially is a full-on PC, though. So this, you're not going to be restricted. You can put Windows on this thing. You can buy games from the Epic Games Store, Steam.
You can put Stadia on it.
Stadia, PC Game Pass. I mean, this is essentially the X-Boy or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, and then because it's Steam, it has PlayStation games now on it. So essentially, everything but Nintendo is essentially on this thing for $400. So, and this maybe kind of lead into, is PC gaming about to explode? Because essentially, PC gaming, the barrier has been price, and it's been difficult. You got to build a PC. Oh my god, if I want to get a laptop, it's $1,200.
So
no one's done this before.
I'm going to say no. because we already have cloud gaming established, which essentially does the same thing. The only thing that's different about the Steam Deck, not the Stream Deck, very different.
Which came out the
The
same day,
Steam
right?
Deck by Valve, as I'm looking at my Stream Deck down here, is that it's it's just your phone with controllers attached. Pretty much
And
everybody's phone can do the same resolution, can get you to the same places, but you have to attach a controller to it with like the Game Sir or other things like that. But this is now just all built in one.
I would disagree. Because I think cloud gaming, I have failed on cloud gaming. I've not been satisfied with cloud gaming. I've even done it hardwired with cloud, with xCloud, and actually even Stadia as well. And I've always been just destroyed by the experience. It's never been delivered, and it's really, performance may vary even with a hardwired.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I vary with it. I would say this allows you to play when internet is less than variable.
Mm-hmm.
And when your internet's only really good at your house, then I would say that. In a hotel, in your car. So that's where I would say, and like the people said cloud Xbox, I tried Destiny 2 on my laptop streaming, and I was getting essentially a non-playable experience. And I'm 30 feet away from my router, but I'm still hardwired in. So to me, this gives PC gaming at a cost that's never been available. It's giving a library of games that is the biggest library in all of gaming, and it's independent of your internet connection. You can take it on a plane. You can take it in your hotel. And I think that's a game change that we've never seen before, and no one's ever been able to challenge Nintendo except for PlayStation, and they failed at it.
So I can see that for, some people, specifically you guys, like, if that's been your experience, it's been your experience, and nothing's going to change that. But there's been just as equal, if not more, people who have had the perfect experience with things like Stadia or GFN or Luna. And you can use those in the hotel or on the airplane, because on pretty much every airplane there is now Wi-Fi. And at pretty much every hotel, the Wi-Fi's actually gotten a lot better. Like we were at maybe Disneyland's, Disney World's a little bit of a side example, because I mean they're Disney World, they should have excellent Wi-Fi, but we were there and the Wi-Fi was perfect. So I don't think this is going to make PC gaming explode. This could be the answer to those who can't make cloud gaming work for them for whatever reason. I've never had any issues with cloud gaming, and I've been on and off using Stadia for over a year now. I can't attest to Luna or GFN as I have not tried those out, but Stadia has worked perfectly for me. So for people like me who already have, the Nintendo Switch, I'm happy with it. I already have the PS5, happy with it. I already have the Series X, happy with it. I already have Stadia, happy with it. And I have a PC. I don't need this. For maybe people like you guys, where for some reason your Wi-Fi just hates you, this is great. And, honestly, $400 is pretty darn good, considering this is essentially a phone with controllers. Most phones these days run for $1,000 plus for the same capabilities. So for a lot of people, that is a really sweet spot for the pricing. I don't really think it's as big of a deal as most people are making it out to be. That could just be my own bias, but I think as a general consensus, it's cool. Good for Valve, good for you guys for bringing this out. Like, and I'm saying that with genuine intent. Like, good for them. Is it's hard. It's hard to bring in a console of any kind, because that's essentially what this is a console of a form, because it is a physical device. But I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal. Its name is funny though, that it's the Steam Deck.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
We have
People
the
are saying
Stream Deck.
I think Project Steam Boy is what it was called, or something like that, which is spot on, right? Yeah, what they were going after. Yeah. So Mark, you're an Apple guy. You love your Nintendo Switch, and you're an Xbox guy. So what's your take on this?
It's
Uh,
impossible to play games on an Apple.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I've tried. I have a Pro.
Parallels or whatever is that like
so
your
it's
option,
just,
right?
like, impossible.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've never used my Macs for gaming very much. Like I played a little bit of WoW in the past, and I used to play some stuff. That's where I first played Full Throttle and a few other games. I've tried, like Todd said, streaming. Specifically xCloud, mostly xCloud, on my iPad or my phone. The last time I did it, I want to look up these results really quickly. So I have a gigabit fiber coming into my house. That's for my internet. The last time I tried xCloud streaming, it was so terrible. I was just trying to do Sea of Thieves just to run around for a minute, just to see what it was like. And it was so slow that it was like, move the stick, input would be like 1, 2, and then the person to move. So I ducked out of that game and ran a speed test. I was getting 463 download and 177 upload, which
is probably like 80 times what they recommend.
They recommend
Yeah.
10. They recommend a
Yeah.
10. Yeah. So that's much faster. So I don't know what the hang up is with that. Maybe I should give Stadia a little bit more of a look. But for me, as like you said, an Xbox guy and a Nintendo guy, who, and I play Apple Arcade games now on my iPad. I just played one I didn't talk about earlier was Doodle God. They just re-released that one, and it's like a super weird, stupid, fun game that I got super hooked on and finished in like a day, which is terrible. But anyway, it's this is kind of appealing to me, and it's not going to replace my Switch, not going to replace my Xbox, but PC gaming to me has always been a bit daunting. Of like not that I don't think I could build my own PC or get into those kind of specs, but it's just do I pick this graphics card? Do I pick that graphics card? There's so much choice, and there's so much stuff that constantly being replaced and whatever. And that's my only hang up with this is why I probably won't jump on the first generation of the Steam Deck is I'd like them to work out some kinks. I'd like them to make sure the hardware, they're already talking about options to limit games to 30 FPS to extend the battery life. So I think I want to wait for them to work out these kinks. But like by Gen 2, kind of similar to the Oculus Quest, I was in Best Buy the other day looking at the Oculus Quest 2, like I kind of wish I could get that right now. But I didn't. And this fall, if I had some extra money and I was looking at like the Switch OLED, the Steam Deck, or a Quest 2, I'd probably be going with a Quest 2 just because it's that second generation hardware. The Switch OLED's not really doing anything for me right now because I play a lot on my TV, and I've never been unsatisfied with handheld on like the OG Switch. And the Steam Deck, I think it's really cool. I like that it's open. I just don't think it's like quite there yet, but I love where they're going with it. And I think this is like a really good product for people like me who have always kind of looked at PC gaming and be like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but I just don't have the time, patience, energy, or whatever. Like I like my Xbox. I like just turning it on and grabbing a controller and playing a game. I don't want to work with settings, drivers, all the PC BS that comes with like building a PC or having a gaming PC. And if this can solve some of those kind of problems, it's going to be great. But if this is basically just a little like laptop, I guess, with controllers instead of a keyboard that folds out, like, I don't know. I really want to see how this first generation performs. But I think if it solves some of those problems that are inherent with PC gaming, it's going to be at least a game changer for PC gaming. But I still don't know if it's enough to set the world on fire, to move everyone away from console, Switch, PC, mobile, streaming, all that kind of stuff. So wait and see approach for me, I think. What are you feeling, Todd?
Yeah, and I feel like the reason why this is different than a PC, it's a console. has one spec. This does not have 85 specs.
Right.
It doesn't
That's
85
it. That's
variations.
what I mean.
This is an iPhone. This is an iPhone where you got one spec. It's just it's a PS5. This also allows you to game like you've never be able to game before, because you can just dock this, put a keyboard and mouse, put it on your TV. You can get PC gaming on your TV super easy. It's got Bluetooth. You can get multiple controllers, PC game on your TV. It'll also opens up the world of mods for games that people like. Sean's daughter wants to play Minecraft with mods. You can't do that on consoles, and this is the easiest way to do it. It's a Steam library where sales are cheap, so you don't have to worry about that. So your library gets awesome. Steam has the biggest library in games, and like I said, now with the ability that I'm assuming Xbox will partner with Valve on this, because Valve is one of the biggest gaming companies in the world. This isn't a fly-by-night. They will probably put a Game Pass, PC Game Pass app on this, so you can play those Xbox games natively. You can play Madden, you play Call of Duty. This is a game that, unless you're a Nintendo, every game under the sun is going to be on this. So essentially, if you're a Switch player and you like handheld gaming, this opens the world to every other game at an affordable price, easy to manage. And you can hook up a power brick to it if you want to on a plane, and play offline Destiny, or not offline Destiny. Destiny's not offline, but offline Halo. Just play the campaign Halo. People have been wanting something like this, but they just haven't had an opportunity. And Valve has been improving not only their hardware with the Valve Index. It's the best VR system out there. The controls are fantastic. So, and I just think this is something different. And PC gaming has been exclusive because of the price. This opens it up at $400 in the library you can get. To me, this is it's kind of crazy. It's awesome. And you can hook up a Bluetooth controller to this too and play Steam games if you don't like that setup. So I think this opens up a flexibility we've never seen before on this platform. So like I'm saying, it's not going to set the world on fire for people who have other options, but it does say, if you like Switch, but you want to play Xbox and PlayStation games potentially, and Steam library and indies early, this is the cheapest way that's ever been offered to do this. And so where I think this has a lot of capabilities, and I'm a PC gamer, I have a PC, so it's not for me because I don't need it. And I'm not a handheld gamer. I don't need it. But I think this is an opportunity to have a gateway for PC gamers, people to code and do all these other things that a PC can bring to the table. Google Docs, if you really want to do so, that's not there. So I just think this is a great option and an opportunity for people that maybe Nintendo isn't where they really want a game, but on the go, nobody else can do this. And I have played Stadia. I played Resident Evil 8, and I got it. I preloaded it. I was hardwired with Stadia, and it was a horrible experience. And I have a 1 gig internet connection, so I'm like, I just feel like if I have the great connection hardwired, it's no Wi-Fi. And it was a bad experience at that point. I'm like, I can't recommend it to anybody, because I can't recommend experience even the best conditions. So, and I've tried Luna, same experience there. xCloud, actually, I had better experience on my LTE connection versus a Wi-Fi connection. Not sure why. I just think online gaming, like streaming, it's coming. It's just, and I've heard actually GeForce Now is the best way to stream, but that requires a PC with a library you bought somewhere else. So you ultimately have to have that platform. So it's coming, and it's going to get better. But I think this is something that is the now that allows you to play games without the lag, dropping things. This is potentially a way, and then you can play Halo online with other people in a handheld way. When you've got a good connection, you can do that. That's awesome. And people have been wanting to play Xbox games and PS5 games elsewhere. So I just think this is really cool. And like I said, if this was just like the way they did the Steam box and it was open and everybody could do it, total fail. But the fact this is, and Valve is eating the cost on this. This is easily an $800 device. So they're not doing it on the cheap.
Yeah.
Well, every console sells for a loss because they know they're going to get the money from the games.
But not at this level. I would say this is significantly different, because this chipset, and because Valve isn't really making money, they are making money off of Steam sales eventually, but the fact that you can put on other game store apps on this, that's insane. You know? Yeah, because Nintendo's not putting other game store apps. Xbox or PS5 aren't allowing you to buy games elsewhere. So they're essentially saying this, you can eventually buy things not from us. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it is the end game is Steam game.
Essentially, that you could buy this and never play a Steam game and
Absolutely.
not give them a cent. You just basically cost them
Making an
money.
emulator.
Yeah, and you're just you could play whatever Windows Game Store or something. Like
you could.
Yeah, it's wild what they're doing,
mind-boggling.
but good on them. I love that they're trying this. It's going to be an interesting development to see where it goes over the next couple of years, I think.
Whoever thought Google would make a platform, whoever thought Xbox would get out of doing what they did, or Microsoft would get over what they're doing, that this is how we drive the industry. It's people doing other things you didn't expect. So guys, let us know what you think about this. Is this a pile of trash? Is it gonna crash and burn? We may never know, because Valve may never tell us how well it sells. We don't know.
I hope they do, and I hope that if this takes off, we see some other companies doing the same kind of thing, right? Like I've talked a number of times about how great Microsoft's industrial design team has been over the last few years. Surface tablets are amazing. The stuff that the Windows team has been doing, I love the new Xbox design. Like especially like the Series S is so sleek and just amazingly just awesome. Even though I went with the Series X, but like I'd love to see them come up with something similar to this, see what their team does that isn't, the Steam Deck looks fine, but it's not going to win like some industrial design competitions or anything. Like I'd love to see an actual hardware maker take a swing at something like this. So
absolutely.
I hope this is a success, because I want to see some competition in this space.
Call it the X Deck.
X Deck. I like that.
Be careful how you say that.
I don't have enough of an accent for it to sound the other way.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Say
Yeah. I mean,
X Deck, but say it quickly. Yeah.
And absolutely, if this drives more innovation in the mobile space, I'm all for it, because Nintendo needs competition to get better.
It's funny because we are spending more time at home right now, I think, partly because of COVID, but so many people are still on the go, and so they don't have time to sit down in front of the TV, but also maybe somebody else is using the TV, which is one of the reasons why I like the Switch, is that I can be on the TV playing something on Xbox or PS5, and my 8-year-old's like, I want to play my game. Okay, well, you're gonna have to play handheld. She's like, all right, whatever. She doesn't care. Mm-hmm. She gets to do that. So the options are good.
Yeah,
they're fantastic. Yeah, we're in a gaming nirvana that I don't think my gamer kid in 1980 ever expected when I was playing Tank on Atari.
Yeah,
well, it's
or 2600,
because gaming is accepted now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, like,
oh my goodness,
it's totally. I was totally in that generation of, as a kid, it was weird, and like, I mean, we had the PS2, and like PlayStation, like people played games, girls didn't play games. To then in high school where girls were playing games, but it was still a guy's world, to now where it's everybody's game.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lot
Absolutely.
of fun. No matter how old you are, too. I mean, you have the gaming grandma of Skyrim.
Yeah.
And then you have like 3-year-olds beating Portal. Okay, maybe not 3, maybe like 6-year-olds, but 6-year-olds beating Portal. I had my butt handed to me by a 6-year-old playing Portal. I was like, crap, I give up.
Wild. Wild.
So, it's anybody's thing at this point, and I love it. Like, it's not even like an inclusivity kind of thing, which, I mean, everybody should be included, but it's just because there is no reason for it not to be for everybody. It just, that's how it was, and this is how it is now, and I love it.
Yes.
If you play Bejeweled, you are a gamer, and we love you for it.
I love Bejeweled.
Everybody loves Bejeweled. I love Bejeweled, man.
The original Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, before it was monetized to hell and I got stuck and I won't pay. Oh, well. That is it for the show, folks. Oh, my goodness. This has been a blast. Carly, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah.
But before you leave, tell people where they can find you, because you are not just a gamer, you're also a talented creator.
Whoa. So I got a lot of things going. You can find most of what I am and information about me on Twitter as Scarlet_stream. Um, and then I have a YouTube channel that I mean to do stuff with, but I never do, which is just Scarlet Stream. But mostly, I like I said at the beginning, I do unique gamer gear. Either it's wood creations for keeping your desk clean and organized, or apparel so you can show off your favorite nerdiness. I also started a food blog, so that's kind of fun.
Ooh.
But as a thank you for being on here again, because I love coming and talking with you, Todd and Mark. It was great to meet you.
You too.
I really, I hope to come back again because I would love to.
Absolutely.
But as a thank you to those who are listening or those who are viewing, ReadyGamer1.shop. If you go to ReadyGamer1.shop, check out the Pokemon Togepi hoodie as inspired by Pokemon Go. The first 2 people anywhere you are, except for EU countries, I'm sorry, European Union, I'm still working out how to figure out your tariff system. But anybody else, first 2 people to enter the code Pokemon Life, POKEMONLIFE, no spaces, at checkout with a Pokemon Togepi hoodie in their cart, will get it for free. And that ends on Friday. This airs on Wednesday, and the codes end on Friday. So the first 2 people to use it, get it.
Wow!
All right.
Mark and Todd,
That is amazing.
That's
I
amazing.
expect you guys to also be fighting for that.
I'm
For those who are viewing, this
trying
is
not
your
to add that to
Togepi
my
hoodie.
cart right now.
Oh my
on
god,
your store.
my son will be so excited about this. But
I'm looking at that
yes,
Charmander hoodie, and it's like, oh man.
this is amazing. Thank you so much. That is more than
That
generous.
is.
Check out Carly's stuff. It is
That's
fantastic.
okay. I go by Scarlet too.
I know it's so confusing. Mine is bland Twitter handle, but you make such cool stuff.
Thank you.
You do such great content on streaming, and you're doing a lot of cool stuff. So that's what we
Thank
wanted
you.
to have you on. And this is great. Definitely. Once again, thank you for being on. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm, super last minute, but I'm glad that I could be here. Monday nights actually worked out really well.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right. Well, you know what? If you want to play with us, not just, listen to us, I'm Spartian98 on Xbox and Switch, and Spartian1998 on PSN. Mark, where are you at?
Canardian on Xbox, and I think the same thing on Switch. But if you follow _Canardian on Twitter, you can find everything there and just link your Switch account and find me that way. So, game on.
And Carly, when you're getting mad about Mass Effect 2, where can people find you?
Yeah. Xbox and PlayStation, I am CR Kjeslstrom, which, for those of you who don't know how to spell in Scandinavian, that's CRKJELSTROM. Just go to Scarlet_stream on Twitter. You'll find all my stuff there. And then Nintendo, which I didn't realize you can't change your username, is just C Kjeslstrom, no R. So yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah, I keep debating on making another account, but I don't want to.
Slightly better than friend codes.
That's true. Right. That's true. And Mark, how can people reach out to us in the interwebs?
Well, you can find everything we do over at secretfriendsunite.com. So all the shows are posted there. All the videos are now posted there. We have our news feed of all the news stories and reviews and everything that we're doing. So give us a little check out over there, I suppose. I was going to say give us a listen over there. It's late. I'm tired. You can follow us on Twitter at SecretFriendsU, at _Canardian, or at TOxtra. I'll let you figure out who's who. And of course, you can subscribe and rate us on different podcast services and on YouTube if you prefer seeing our lovely faces while we talk about stuff. We also have
Who
shirts.
wouldn't want to see the lovely faces?
Exactly.
We have shirts,
We also have
and I'm wearing one
shirts.
right now.
Todd's wearing one now. If you're watching the video version, I am not. I'm wearing one with a little link coming out of an imaginary pocket. But you can get our shirts and other great gear over at our TeePublic store. The link again is on SeekerFriendsUnite.com. So check us out there. Buy some sweet merch. And but this week, I would suggest checking out Carly's merch. Because it's
Absolutely. Go there first.
Go there first because 1, free hoodies, 2, Pokemon hoodies, and more. I'm looking
And
right now.
loads of
Like
stuff.
I'm
We got-
super distracted because I'm looking at the Destiny stuff right now, and I
We
love
got
that mask.
GSN stuff, Destiny
Um,
stuff. I keep meaning to do more Destiny stuff. I had more,
It's
but it didn't.
it's
it
good
just wasn't
stuff.
working out.
I might have to
Horizon
order
Zero
this.
Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost. I was just looking at the Ghost's mask. I might have to order that for my brother.
Ooh.
Man, check out. Okay,
So
check
good.
out this stuff. I'm gonna try. You know what, Todd? Wrap it up because I'm getting real distracted by some cool merch here.
It's getting towards midnight when he unleashes the wallet.
Absolutely. He's drunk and tired.
I'm not.
That's
This was a
Mark.
Pepsi. I'm not.
Oh,
drinking
perfect.
tonight.
Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely.
too much drinking.
Well, I will say this. You know what, folks? Know what's cooler than a girl gamer? A girl crafter. Very cool. Use your hands, make
Oh,
cool stuff.
Thanks.
I love that. Perfect. So with that, Mark, Carly, it's been a pleasure. But as always, folks, remember, it's always better to game together.
Bye.